welcome to Coffee with Cory. Here on a nice wintry day, we got legendary Coach Bill Triplett from the Wilson State women's basketball team, head coach. So how's it going today, Coach?
Well, it's going. You know, we got some bad weather and some bad roads, and we did have a player sprain an ankle today in practice. So other than that, life is good, you know, but things happen.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate having another player, a key player, go down with an ankle injury. But before we get to basketball stuff, what are you drinking there, Coach?
I have got a chai tea, hot chai tea. I love these. I have one just about every day. So Meg-a-Latte chai tea.
And I, of course, got my salted caramel mocha. It's especially good today. So thank you, Meg and Meg-a-Latte. So you got a pretty good start this year, 11-1. I mean, what do you think helped you get such a great start this year?
Well, we've got such great balance. You know, if you're an opposing coach, you just can't try shut down this girl or these two. We've actually got 6 girls averaging in double figures. Well, 5 now, because Kylie Simpson has knee surgery tomorrow, in fact, in Bismarck. So we still have 5 girls averaging double figures, but when we sub, we don't lose much. And we've got good speed, everybody can score, and on top of that, they're all so unselfish and play together so well. And it's just a good program right now.
Yeah, they're a fun bunch to watch. They're a fun bunch to see play and just interact with each other and be teammates. I mean, Kylie Simpson was huge. She was, you know, such a leader out there. And so what happened?
Well, we were playing, I guess, down in Powell, Wyoming, and she just went up for a defensive board, and she was up. She was probably 2 feet off the ground. She grabbed it with both hands and came down, went right to the floor. There was no contact or anything, and it just tore her ACL or MCL or meniscus. It tore a tendon off a bone. Actually has a fracture in her big bone. What is that, a femur? I don't know, but it was just a bad one. So we wish her the best tomorrow. She's having surgery in Bismarck tomorrow. So
yeah, wish her.
But it was season ending.
Yeah, season ending. So their status, she's done then for the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad deal. Such a great kid and such a coachable kid too. You know, what a nice young lady.
Yeah, and to go even further, you know, when you have a coach's kid on your team, or her dad is a college coach at Botno right now, and for instance, Jerseyburg, her dad was a coach and stuff. When you have 2 or 3 coaches' kids on your team, it really makes a difference because they grew up in the gym and they're very intelligent and stuff. So it really hurts losing her, but we were so deep at the 2 and the 3 spot that we just kind of been rolling right along without her, but we really wish she was with us.
Yeah, for sure. She definitely has impacted you guys, and certainly you got a great bunch. So really, I was looking, we're averaging what, 91 points per game, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And what a number. Do you think for this team that you have to consistently get close to that to have success, or what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I've always thought that this was a 70-point league. If you score over 70, you got a good chance to win, and if you don't, you probably won't. But the speed that we play with and the transition and the stuff, that we have more possessions per game than maybe normal teams, you know, so, but getting to that 90-point level gives you a really, really good chance of winning.
Yeah, no, I agree, and you talk about, you really touched on a couple strengths there. What else do you think are strengths of this team this year?
Well, I think it starts off the court. They're such good friends and they're such good teammates, and they've got leadership, and the culture's so good. There's never any of this drama that a lot of teams go through. They're just great kids, and they really listen and want to learn. They're very, very coachable. And just today we're putting in a couple new things for the benefit of Heffernan, our post player, and the kids were just all locked in and learning and stuff. They're very coachable. And then, of course, having weapons at every position, you know, that really makes it easy. You know, I've always felt if the other team has 1 really or 2 really, really good players, we'll probably still beat them, because we can lock in on those two, but you can't lock in any one person in our program. You know, there's 5 of them on the floor, and all 5 can score, and all 5 cut hard, and they're very fundamental. And maybe our players get a little bored in practice sometimes because we're working on outside pivot foot, inside pivot foot, running through a catch, and blocking out, and learning how to talk on defense. And it's over and over and over, but repetition is where they really learn. So this team has got what it takes to go a long ways, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. They're a fun bunch to watch, and like you said, what I've seen, and you know, they're definitely a coachable bunch. You alluded to, you know, it seemed different kids sometimes, night in, night out. But is there a person that stands out every night, like, man, we got to count on her for this or that?
No, like one night it's Jersey Berg, the next night it's Taylor Murtaugh, and then Heffernan dominates and stuff. But it seems like we usually have 4 or 5 girls in double figures. It's not any one person, and that balance is kind of the key. Just today, like for instance, Taylor Murtaugh got named Mondac Player of the Week just today for the previous week, and on Saturday out in Coeur d'Alene, she had 17 points the first quarter.
She was
Not for the game. She was on fire, but then the day before, you know, Jersey carried us for a while, and last week Heffernan had a big double-double and stuff, so it kind of rotates, you know, which is good to see, because, you know, this girl can have an off night, but it doesn't affect the whole team because none of them are expected to do too much.
Yeah, it's a nice combination. I gotta say, I mean, obviously I was able to help out more last year, but how do you compare? How does this team compare from last year?
Very much the same, other than the fact that we have to learn to play with new players. Like last year, having Allison Kunze in there, who's at MSU Billings now, and Allie Garcia, who's at St. Mary's, another D2 in Texas. They brought so much to our team, and to replace those with the people that we have, it takes a little time. And Heffernan just keeps getting better and better and better because she's playing Kunze's role, and it just takes a little time.
And she's got so much potential.
Yeah, she does. She's going to be a real good one. Oh, Hef is, and so it takes a little bit of time, and we're running a little bit more. We're maybe a little faster up and down the lineup and getting it out a little bit more. But basically, we're the same team because the girls we brought in, you know, did a great job. We kind of, when you recruit kids, you kind of recruit kids for what you're losing. Like you lose Kunze, so we bring in Hef. You lose Garcia, so we bring in Danny Jordan, and so we can just kind of keep right on rolling.
Yeah, and I think that's fits your system, your style, and it's been cool to watch for me. Learning and coaching alongside you when I get a chance. But what and I think what's different, what I see, and maybe there's some more differences from last year. But you said we're a little faster this year, a little bit more fluid, maybe. I mean, anything else that jumps out at you?
Well, I think the improvement from freshman to sophomore year is also key. You know, just working at their game. Lucia Baedo, for example, you know, she went through it last year and did a ton of work at it, and she had a good summer, and right now she's another one of those girls that's 6 feet tall and runs like a deer and athletic, and she's given us a lot of really good minutes. I've started her probably half the time this year because I could see what she could be someday, and she's making those strides forward. A little bit inconsistent right now, but you got to stick with her because she's kind of an X factor. She's a tough matchup for anybody. She's tough to stay in front of. So the improvement of your freshmen as the season goes along, and then for their sophomore year, like Murtaugh was a freshman last year starter, Berg was a freshman last year starter, Murtaugh was a freshman last year starter. So this year they've got so much confidence, and they've been in the system, and it's really a sophomore dominated league. But it's my philosophy to have half sophomores and half freshmen every year, so you can move that class up and recruit for that next year. And so that way you never have to rebuild. I mean, I look at Alex, our men's coach, when he got the job, the cupboard was empty, and he had to go sign about 15 freshmen.
Yeah.
So last year, those kids were all sophomores, and they were really, really good. But we had a tough graduation year last year. So when you have half freshmen and half sophomores going forward each year, it's really a bonus. And right now we've got 6 really nice freshmen.
Yeah, certainly. That's it's a little easier. It's a nice flow of things, how you do things, and it's your guys are rolling right now. And let's switch gears a little bit to Mondac Conference. It's changed maybe a little bit over the years, and many people don't know what teams currently are there. Could you explain who the teams are, where they're playing out of, and sometimes the names have even changed? Could you kind of give us a little bit more insight on the Mondac Conference?
Well, we had 8 teams in the Mondac until this year. Bismarck State is now a 4-year NAIA school. So right now we have 7 teams, which is Miles City and Dawson, which is in Montana, Williston, Lake Region, North Dakota State School of Science, Dakota College of Bottineau, and United Tribes. So we have 7 teams in our conference. However, United Tribes and Bottineau are NJCAA Division II. Science and Williston and Dawson and Miles and Lake Region, we're all Division I. So you play in that league all year long, but once the postseason gets here, United Tribes and Bottineau, they go to a Division II postseason.
Okay.
And the D1 schools go to our postseason, which is minus Bismarck this year. So it's kind of confusing. And to go even further, North Dakota State School of Science, their last year in the Mondac is next year. They're going to drop 2 divisions. They're going to go from NJCAA D1 all the way to D3. So they'll be joining those Minnesota schools. There's lots of them that are closer and stuff. But when you're a D3 school, there are no scholarships. Kids just have to walk on and play. So I don't think that's a good move for them, but that's what they're going to do. So after next year's over, we'll be down to 6 teams in our conference.
Yeah, interesting, and the dynamics. Where do you think? I know conference play really hasn't started, but where do you think you guys fit in this year? How do you compare yourselves right now?
Well, our goal is to win the conference, and there's going to be some tough games, at Science and at Lake Region, and Miles City has a chance to get a lot better as well. So our goal is to win it, and if you do that, you can host in the postseason and stuff. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, no, I agree, and we were right that close last year too. But that's exciting to talk about, exciting to think about. Just in general, where do you see any significant changes in junior college basketball that you've seen in recent years that some people may not know about?
Well, one thing is there's this rumor going around, and it might be true and it might not, but there's a vote going to be coming up in January by the NCAA D2 schools where girls get 6 to play 5. Like you come to Williston for a year, you could transfer to Minot State or MSU Billings or any D2 and still have 4 years left. So that if that happens, that will help us, I believe, because some player could come here and knowing they can get a year of experience and play 30-some games and then still have 4 years left. But until that happens, there hasn't been much of a change the last several years. In every student athlete that you're recruiting is different. They all want to have these D1 dreams, and then if not D2 and then NAIA, but they're starting to realize, like we have 11 Tetons right now playing at other schools. Yeah. 11. And I would venture to guess that's more than anybody in the country, any JUCO. So the coaches out there, I've been on the phone probably 5 hours this morning with recruiting, college coaches recruiting our players. Yeah. It's just been constant because they know if you're going to get a Williston State player, you're getting a good player that's fundamental, but they're also a good person and a good student and stuff. And the success that the current Tetons are having, whether it be Taylor Murtaugh at Portland State or Garcia at St. Mary's, Kansas, his bad horse at Northern, Coonsey at MSU Billings, Kirkowski at Jamestown, Moritzen at Valley City. It just goes on and on and on. And every one of those coaches are very, very happy with that they've gotten that Williston State player.
Yeah, to get a Teton, that's awesome. So I think we talked about this the other day a little bit, but is there a chance the Tetons can be nationally ranked this year? How does that work?
Well, you know, our region, which is Region 13, doesn't get much respect nationally. And we've played some really good teams that are ranked, and have beaten them. But the chance for a team in our region to get ranked is pretty rare. But we're hoping that we do, just to get, because it kind of helps in recruiting. If you're recruiting a player from Minnesota or from Billings, Montana, and they see those rankings and they go, holy cow, they're nationally ranked. So I hope we do, but the chances of it are probably slim and none, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that would be sure a neat thing that if it does happen. Well, cool. Well, let's maybe switch gears a little bit, and if you can, Coach, can you give us a little more insight of who Coach Triplett is? Give us maybe just a brief background of your coaching and where you've been. You've been doing this a while, haven't you?
A while, yeah, probably 47 or 48 years. I grew up in Lansford, North Dakota, which is north of Minot, and my high school and Mulhall High School and Sherwood High School are all one big school district now, the MLS Mavericks. But I was a Lansford Cub growing up. My dad was a coach, so he coached baseball and basketball, so I played baseball and basketball, but then went on to Minot State. And then when I graduated from Minot State, I coached for 4 years out in Starkweather, North Dakota. And I had both teams. You know, the guys were the Storm Kings and the girls were the Storm Queens. And I loved it there, and we had really, really good teams.
So you're the kings and queens.
Yeah. And from there, I went to coach at Lansford, my own high school, for a year, and then out to Montana for 21 years. I spent at Reed Point, Montana, and had a really good bunch of kids there, a great run out in Reed Point. And then Minot State came knocking. I went back to home to coach at Minot State for 10 years. I spent there, and my wife and I, we were 3 hours apart for 10 years, and Lambert and Minot back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I ended up quitting at Minot State, and I was actually delivering some FedEx packages, and Savage High School called and wanted to know if I'd coach there, so I coached Savage for a year and
had some success.
Yeah, I think we were, I don't know, 27-2 or something, and state tournament team, really good club. And the following year after that, you know, my youngest son, stepson Hunter, was going to be a senior, and my wife was coaching boys basketball at Lambert. So I quit at Savage, and I coached little kids, you know, junior high and elementary kids at Lambert for a year, and then Williston State opened up, and I took this job, and now this is my 6th year at Williston already. So it's been a lot of years in the gym, a lot of miles, you know.
Well, it certainly takes something and for doing it as long as you have, and then to put time in your marriage and your wife, and you keep that going, and now your 6th year at the Tetons. You must love it.
I do. I have a passion for the game, but teaching the game and practices and stuff, watching film. We just got done watching 2 games after practice today, and I love that part of it too. And I would say 90% of the college coaches across the country hate recruiting. They just hate it, and I love it. I love evaluating kids on other teams, high school kids, and I love meeting their families and recruiting. I love that part of it as well. So, I mean, if I wasn't coaching, what else would I be doing? Probably something I don't love as much as this. So, yeah, it's in my blood, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I can definitely tell, of course, that you are passionate about it and love it. How about, can you give us maybe 1 to 3 things that's changed over the years, and then maybe followed by a few examples of things that haven't changed in coaching?
Well, I think the speed of the game has gotten faster and faster and faster through the years, and there's not a lot of post play much anymore. Not a lot of these teams that have the bigs inside and bring it down, set it up, work it, and try to get it inside. That's a thing of the past. Like we were talking about Heffernan earlier, she shoots the three, and she can play on the perimeter, and everybody's in a more of a penetrate and kick and perimeter basketball. That's changed a lot. One thing that hasn't changed is you really have to work hard and play defense if you want to be successful, and that means team defense as well. So the defensive end of it hasn't changed, but offensively the game has gone through some major changes the last 10 years.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree. That's the game continued to kind of change as time goes, but it's such a fun game. Switching gears a little bit, pivoting to leadership, and you've seen a lot of different leaders over the years, I'm sure, and also on your teams. What attributes or characteristics do you really appreciate or you look for in leaders?
Well, number one, you have to be a good person and a good teammate, and that is first and foremost. And you have to be trustworthy, and sometimes those people aren't real vocal. They lead by example, and other times they're more vocal, but you have to really help out with the younger kids, with the freshmen, and our captains are always sophomores. There's been a few exceptions. Maybe Sydney Labatt might have been a captain 2 years in a row, maybe 3, because she got that third year because of COVID. But that part of it, and then also being a good student, and our girls are required to go to every single class unless there's an excuse like knee surgery tomorrow or you're sick and stuff. But being accountable for everything, and then just being a kind of a coach on the floor a little bit. So I've got like a 2-page printout that I give my kids that are going to be captains, and I said, this is kind of your job and this is what I expect out of you. And they really embrace that because it's kind of an honor to be a Teton captain.
Yeah, no, I've seen that and how you've been developing those leaders. It's been pretty neat to see as well. I mean, if there's some recruiter, or, some kids who want to be recruited by you, what would you say would be some things that are red flags, like, yeah, that's not a leader, or you see some players or high school kids like, yeah, that's not what I want to see? Is there some like things that jump out at you, like, I'm not going to stay away from that?
For sure. Like if I'm watching a game and a player we're looking at chews out a teammate and like catch the ball or something like that, that's a red flag. And being disrespectful to their coach, timeout, and the kids aren't locked in on the coach. They go wander to the end of the bench and don't even listen. We don't want any of that. And sometimes you see that and you think, well, I can change that kid. I can change her attitude and stuff like that. So I have given kids chances before, and they have changed. But you really want that good kid who supports their teammates and really works hard. You want your captains to be the hardest workers on the floor and set an example and stuff. So there's a fine line of who you're going to recruit, and it's quite an honor. The Teton program has gotten so good the last 4 or 5 years that it's quite an honor to become a Teton.
Yeah.
And there's boxes we have to check, starting with your grades in high school and how you are as a teammate. And so we go through our recruits quite thoroughly before we make them an offer.
Yeah, no, that's good. Your time well spent for sure. No, thanks for that. We were talking earlier, so when's your next home game?
January 3rd, I believe. Yeah, it's not till January. We play in Arizona next Friday, next Saturday, and next Sunday. So we'll get those 3 over with, and then we have one last non-conference game January 3rd, and then our last 12 games will be all conference games.
Okay, gotcha. So last year I was fortunate to be with you in Arizona and coach with you. And how important do you feel those kind of trips are for team building?
They're very, very important. And, we have to fundraise quite a bit of money from hotels and plane tickets and stuff like that. But it's a win-win situation for several reasons. The kids, they get to go to Arizona, be in the sun for 4 days, I'm taking them to an NBA game. You know, the Golden State Warriors play the Suns while we're down there. We have an afternoon game, and then we're going to an NBA game that night. But it's also a recruiting tool. Like if I'm recruiting some girl and I say, hey, we're taking a trip to Arizona in the middle of the winter, going to have 3 good games, and you get to have a great time and go down there. It's not just a vacation. We're going to go compete and win those games, but it's really good for the kids. They get on the road and spend time with their teammates, and it's just a good trip.
Yeah, no, I wish you guys well down there this year. I hope to be with you, but last year was certainly fun. So the first game next Friday, South Mountain Community College. The 19th, 20th is Phoenix College, and then the last one is 21st Gilbert Community.
Yep, Chandler Gilbert.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, that's awesome, Coach. And is there anything else that would you like the listeners to know about Coach Triplett or the Wilson State Tetons?
Well, I think it's if you're a prospective athlete out there, you know, I get a lot of emails and these little clips that are sent to me. Like I got one today from a girl from Wyoming, one in Arizona, and these kids that want to be Tetons, and they send these clips, and I don't recruit off clips. You know, it doesn't show the bad pass or the air ball or not playing defense. So if you want to be a Teton, I think you need to attach full game videos so I can watch the whole game and go through it and stuff, and then attach a transcript of your high school grades and stuff, because there's so many players out there that we don't know about. You know, we really like to get kids between, you know, Bismarck and Billings, Eastern Montana kids and Western North Dakota kids, but then there's also kids from far away that I can't run down to Omaha. We're looking at a guard right now from Omaha, Nebraska, and I can't go down and watch her play live. So I need full game films sent to me. So that's one tip for high school kids.
No, I like that. You get to see the whole reaction, the mistake response, what happens after they make a mistake, and all those nuances that come with playing the game, and that's good. Well, thank you, Coach, for spending time with us, and we hope nothing but the best for you and the program, and thank you, Meg-a-Latte.
Yeah, thank you.